Hello guys, how are you? It's voiceover Jess here. I'm back with a Q&A, my first one, yeah! In May I asked on Instagram if you had any questions, and then in June I started editing this video and then I never finished to edit it. So yeah, finally I'm here, I'm back. You'll be seeing me drawing some penguins that I've done back in May. At the moment I'm in summer break for my master, but in May and June I've been working on my project for the master stage, the final semester, and the main project is gonna be a book about penguins. So yeah, I'm drawing some penguins. I'm gonna start with some observational drawings, drawing penguins from videos, well, of course. It would be cool to go to a zoo, but it's not very feasible. So these penguins are gonna be not very pretty because I have to work pretty fast, and then I'll try to do some character studies. Okay, let's start the Q&A because I've been rambling with no reason. The first question is from Kathleen. She asks, why raccoons? Yeah, it's a very good question. I have been starting drawing raccoons just because Fairy Little Fairy Peach, I never remember the order. Yeah, she made the Peachtober last year and the first prompt was raccoon. I decided to try that Inktober, and I did just the first prompt, raccoon. I really liked the gouache paintings that I did in that occasion, and people seem really liking it, and so it's what happened. I drew some raccoons, I liked them, and then I kept doing it, and then I also made a whole project about raccoons during the last semester at the master. I always liked raccoons, but it has never been my favorite animal anyway whatsoever. Emma is asking why and when did you decide to do your children's books master? So I started the master in September 2019, and I decided to do it around April. I think it's when I went to the Bologna fair, and I decided to do university the month before when I went to Oxford, and I was like, oh, at the moment I'm in this very cultural city, so yeah, I want to do university. It's very silly. I didn't go to university when I was in Italy. I attended a professional school in my early 20s where I studied illustration and graphic design, but I don't have a formal degree, but I managed to get into the master thanks to my working experience, and it's amazing that in the UK you can do that. In Italy you can't skip the undergraduate. It works in a different way. Yeah, I decided to do the children's book one because that was a period of experimentation for me. So the year before I quit my full-time job as a UI UX designer for mobile applications. Yeah, that period I was experimenting with several things. I didn't know what to do. I wanted to do illustrations, but I always been intrigued by storytelling in general. Actually, when I was a teenager, I wanted to do comics. Because I always loved reading manga, but I always thought that comics in general is a very, very hard field to work in. Yeah, I thought that children's books were a very good compromise, and anyway, in the same period I was getting closer to children's books, and yeah, I really like it as a medium. Rita is asking why did you decide to go into illustration, and so yeah, as I said, I really liked comics when I was a teenager. I have to admit that back then I didn't know anything about illustration, so my knowledge was limited to concept art. So for animation, games, of course, I was aware about the children's books, but I didn't know anything about editorial illustration, illustrations that is used on digital products as well, that then I started doing when I started working as a graphic designer. Yeah, I knew nothing about licensing. That is very important. Like many people, I simply like drawing. So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do illustration even if I don't know what the hell that is. this is a very, very weird answer. And instead, Rosie is asking what inspired you to become an artist, and I always like the storytelling power that is held by an image. I've been drawing tons of just pretty images, absolutely, and I like doing that as well. But I think, yeah, something that I really like is when you are able to communicate something. Rosie is asking also which are my favorite places to go in London. I have been living in London for almost 5 years, but I'll be honest now, I haven't been going around that much. Well, not at all. Well, of course now the whole pandemic happened, so I've been at home the whole time. Some areas that I always liked are Brick Lane, the Flower Market. What's the name that is in Hackney? I think, yeah, I always liked that area, obviously East London. And also sometimes I really like having a long walk from the London Eye and walk along the Thames. I get to the Millennium Bridge that is in front of the Tate Modern. I cross it and then I get to St. Paul. It's a very touristic area. I mean, it's absolutely touristic, but yeah, I really like having that walk, yeah, when I want to be alone with my thoughts. Okay, next question is from Becky. What's your favorite medium at the moment? What is a medium you want to try? I have a background as a digital artist. I've been relying on digital for a very long time, so it's just recently, yeah, in the last 1.5 years that I'm getting closer to traditional medium. Around 1 year ago, in September, I was really enjoying gouache combined with pencil, but I didn't manage to make any projects, final illustrations with that technique. Yeah, somehow I have been always avoiding to use the classic traditional techniques for my master projects. It's weird. People normally would use pencils, gouache, acrylic to create illustrations, but I'm feeling very, very fascinated by printmaking techniques. So last year I did my project with linocut. I wanted to try to use gouache into my last project, but in the end I used stencil. That is another printmaking technique. And now at the moment I'm experimenting with Riso and screen printing. Well, I've been screen printing the t-shirts, but I also want to use screen printing to make illustrations. And despite all these techniques are all new to me, probably they are a bit more similar to my approach because you are able to work in layers. I want to keep experimenting because I really love the final outcome you get that is completely different from digital, but I think I should still challenge myself at trying to make a full piece with just normal gouache, stuff like that. I want to get some acrylic gouache. I'm very intrigued. I know that many people use them, but I'm a very cheap person. I have been using Arteza gouache because they are very affordable, and yeah, the quality is not bad. I feel like I am able to experiment way more if I'm using something cheap. Otherwise, I will feel a bit restrained. So I think I'm gonna get some Turner acrylic gouache because it's not that expensive. And probably I'm gonna try also some kitchen lithography. So lithography is another printmaking technique. I don't know how you do it, but there's an easy way to do it at home using Coca-Cola. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. Amy has left several questions. The first one is, do you cut your stickers at home? If so, any tips? Yes, I do my stickers with a silhouette portrait too. Yeah, I think that was an amazing purchase. In the beginning I wanted to get a Cricut simply because everybody was using it, but then I realized that I didn't need a Cricut or a silhouette cameo, so the big ones, because I knew that I was going to buy A4 sticker sheets, and so the portrait is, in my opinion, is perfect for that, unless you know that you are gonna use the machine to cut on vinyl, also on a bigger sheet or material. So yeah, our recommendation would be getting a portrait instead of spending more money and get a bigger machine. Although I have to say that I had some problems with silhouette in general with my Mac. That is a bug that is impacting just Mac users. There's a kind of glitch when the machine is printing the artwork. I don't have any particular tips. As I hear, anyway, many people recommend silhouette over Cricut is more accurate. However, I've been having that problem with Mac. Then the next question is, how do you organize all your design files? My Google Drive is insane. Oh, well, I'm not very good at organizing my files. I'm very bad in my opinion. I am paying for the Google Drive subscription, so I'm paying something like £1.50 per month. Also because I have an Android phone, so that way I can back up all the photos. I'm also paying for the subscription for the Apple Cloud. So I have an automatic backup on my Mac. The problem is that I ran out of space, so I don't know what is safe at the moment. But also I have an hard disk, so when I finish a big project and he's taking a lot of storage, yeah, I usually move it on my hard disk. So I have stuff all around, but I'll be honest, I'm very bad. So I don't know how to answer. And the next question is, how do you decide what topics, subjects to create art of? Oh, okay. Well, for sure, art challenges are very good for that. So if you can find a topic that you are passionate about, art challenge is absolutely perfect for that. Yeah, as I said, here's how I started drawing raccoons, just because I followed a prompt. So in the last year I have been drawing mostly for my master. So in that case I was coming up with an idea, a sequence, a story. So then of course I was creating the artwork for that. So it was a different approach. But I'm thinking, yeah, when I made my portfolio for children's books, I created some sort of fan art. So I created some images based on Harry Potter, or also based on a famous fable. I find it hard to answer to this question because I feel like I'm a very practical artist. So in the last 10 years I have been making art mostly when a client was asking for that. It's very sad to admit. And in fact, it's something I'm working on at the moment. I'm loving creating my own projects, but still I'm feeling hard to find the motivation to make art just for the sake of making art. So I believe that creating a kind of a personal brief helps me in making art. Oh no, I think this is the worst question. Would you describe your art style? Okay, well, for sure when I was a teenager, my style was very manga. Anyway, because that was my main source of inspiration. I was reading a lot of manga, watching anime. I mean, I'm still watching anime. Certain period I was working as a graphic designer. I have to change completely my way of drawing. So for a very long period I have been adapting, and it's just recently that I've been rediscovering my own visual voice. Around 2 years ago, when I made my first children's book portfolio, I think that my art style was pretty similar to other children's books that you could find in the bookshop. I could say very generic, very commercial. I don't know how to describe it. Some people could still see some kind of manga inspiration, I guess, also because I used to draw very big eyes. But now with the master I have been experimenting way more. I didn't mean to change my art style, but it's been something that has happened simply because I've been exposed to different kind of art, and so my taste simply changed, and I find it very interesting. So yeah, at the moment I have no idea. I don't know how to describe my art style, so I don't know. Okay, the next question is from Cecilia. What are you majoring in? I feel like you might told me, but I forgot. Yeah, I'm majoring in children's book illustration. So yeah, I'm still surprised that there's a master specific about that, but I feel like that this master is very useful for any kind of storytelling, so I don't think that is strict to children's books. absolutely, I feel like next I'm gonna experiment with some graphic novels for adults as well. Well, I don't know if I'm able to do that. But anyway, when we say children's books, we mean from 0 to 18 years old. So of course it includes also all the young adults and teenagers, whatever, I don't know, all the categories. Okay, next question. I'll be dumped. Sorry, I don't know the name here. Hello, what is your favorite color? My favorite color used to be purple for a very long time. But I feel like my favorite color now is pink. I've been putting pink everywhere. Yes, yeah, very pastel pink. Next question is by Katie. What is your next project about? Oh. I don't know if I want to talk about this now. I think maybe I'm gonna talk about it next, because I think there will be a lot to say. But long story short, I'm gonna do a women book pop-up with penguins, and then a project about the Isle of Skye. Yeah, so these are my current projects that I planned, but I'm gonna talk about it next. Especially have to explain you what a women book is, if you don't know it yet. The next question is from Luke. How much time do you spend doing admin tasks and how much time creating? Well, I think many creatives, business owners can relate, but I believe that I spend just 5% of the time making art for my business. Well, also, yeah, you see that I don't have many artworks. I want to create more artworks, but anyway, recently I've been enjoying much creating, experimenting with different kind of products. Also because I want to understand what I want to sell, because I've been doing many different things, so I feel like I need to narrow down. But yeah, if you're running a small business, the creative part is very small. Okay, then I think these are the last 4 questions. Okay, are you a full-time illustrator or do you have a side job too? Okay, I used to be an employee until 2018. Then I became a freelancer illustrator, so I've been a full-time freelancer until the start of my master in children's books that happened in September 2019. And well, now also at the moment I'm a part-time student. I was a part-time illustrator until last year, the end of last year. But at the moment, I decided to put aside the freelancing because they were taking really a lot of my time. And so I'm trying to build this small business just was here. So no, I don't have any other side jobs. I'm a part-time student. I'm running a small business. When I finish the master, of course, I'm gonna get back into freelancing if my business hasn't grown enough. Okay, so then I have the last 3 questions are from April. So who is your favorite YouTuber and why is it me? Yeah, April, I love your videos. I think that at the moment my favorite YouTuber may be Lee Alexson. Yeah, I really like her studio vlogs, but in particular I love her art. Yeah, I love watching her painting and drawing so freely. Last week I believe she published a video where she did a sort of 1 week art challenge where she was drawing every day. Yeah, that video is perfection. So it's a full video of just art. Then I really like Fran Nerd. I have been following her for a very long time, and I took the inspiration of making the t-shirts also watching her videos. And then I love also Catnip. I love her cozy videos, studio vlogs, and something that I really like about her is that despite she has grown a lot, anyway, she's always very humble, and I really like that. Then if I want to watch something a bit more silly, I really like Mariah Elizabeth. Probably is the biggest art YouTuber with 6 million subscribers. She's famous for customizing squishies. She does different crafty things. Her videos are pretty silly. Okay, next question is your favorite illustrators' children's books? Ooh, I should say that, before starting the Children's Book Master, my favorite illustrator probably was Benji Davies. I still like him, absolutely, but before I was much into digital art, and I felt like Benji was amazing doing that. I really love how he deals with color, also how he's able to communicate through his characters that are very, very simple with no mouth. They're really great. And through the master, I discovered many new illustrators that are a bit more experimental, in my opinion. So I really, really like Beatrice Alemagna. Her paintings seem so effortless, and I think they're simply amazing. Something that I really like of her work is that she doesn't aim at doing some pretty things. Her characters look a bit weird, the perspective is completely off, and I love that. I love the textures that she uses. It's absolutely amazing. From Beatrice, I have On a Magical Do Nothing Day. It's a beautiful book. I love the earthy tones and used together with a very fluoro orange for the main character. Then I also have A Lion in Paris. It's a wonderful book in my opinion because there's a very, very clever use of collage, and especially the photo collage with the traditional illustration, which look very, very bizarre, and I love it. And it's also the reason I tried collage in the last semester and I failed. Then another illustrator that I really like is Julia Sarda. I don't have anything of her, sadly. I should buy something. Her tones are very, very dark and earthy, so I can't relate much to her way, to her style, but it's absolutely amazing. Then I absolutely recommend The Journey by Francesca Sanna. This was made digitally, it's very graphic, and there's a very smart use of color. It's a wonderful book. It talks about immigration. And then, during my dissertation, I've been studying a lot Suzy Lee, in particular Wave. I absolutely love the simplicity of Suzy Lee. I mean, it doesn't seem like she spent much time in making her artwork, but her simplicity is absolutely perfect. And I think this is the kind of work that I'd like to achieve one day. I mean, I like creating more complex artworks, but I think, sometimes illustration don't have to be complex to be successful. Absolutely not. And the last question is, the most helpful advice from your master's degree and the worst advice. Oh, April. I don't know if I can consider it the best advice I got. I can't remember now. But a very good one that I got recently was from Alexis Deacon. He shared his experience in making a children's book, and he understood that as illustrators we have to put aside our ego, so we don't have to strive on making exceptional illustrations, super complex, showing off our skills because we are good at it. No. The purpose of making illustration for a project such as a book, something that communicates to the reader, is to support the stories. As I said before with Suzy Lee, sometimes the simplicity of a drawing, also the sketch that you've done on your sketchbook, probably is gonna work perfectly as a final one. And I think that is why I want to try to be more loose in my work. I think you're able to communicate things in a more personal way. I can't recall now a bad advice that I got, but probably something a bit frustrating about working on your own project and then showing it to several different tutors is that sometimes you get different opinions about what you are working on. It can be a bit frustrating because it means that you do some stuff, then you get a specific feedback, you change it, and then you get a different one the week after, so you simply don't know what to do with your life. But I guess it's very normal. People have different opinions, people have different background, point of views, and it's something that you simply have to deal with. And actually I believe that it's good to show your work to different people, not to stick to just one single feedback, but to hear from several people. Okay, I believe I answered all the questions. I've been talking a lot. I hope I didn't bore you too much. I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. Thank you so much for listening and watching the derpy penguins, and see you next week for a studio vlog. Bye bye guys!